Police in New York City beefing up security ahead of tomorrow's New York City Marathon. You know, more than 50,000 runners will take to the streets just days after 8 people were killed in the horrific radical Islamic terrorist attack on the bike path near the World Trade Center Memorial. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio saying New Yorkers will not live in fear.
The whole world will be watching on Sunday, and what we're going to show them is that New York City is resolute, strong, and unmoved by the horrible events of Tuesday. We are humanly mourning those who are lost, but we're not going to let terrorists change who we are.
Brian Yennis now live at the bike path where people have been placing flowers and notes and tributes, and even someone took their lamp and wrote on it Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous Light in the Darkness speech as a tribute to the victims. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Eric. This is the intersection where that terrorist suspect drove that rental truck down south, entering right here on the bike path. You can see some of the security precautions already put in the last couple of days. Those white concrete barriers, those are the small ones, but they've added some 20-foot large highway concrete barriers throughout the bike path to make sure that cars and other vehicles cannot drive on the bike path, potentially hurting pedestrians as well as bicyclists. Now, this, as the NYPD is working to make the New York City Marathon the tightest security event that this marathon's ever seen. They've had double and triple the personnel, as well as double the observation teams, double the sniper teams, and they've also added much more of those sand trucks and these quote-unquote blocker vehicles that are meant to protect pedestrians in the event from potential vehicular attacks. Back here, though, we're now seeing that we've got the memorial that you were talking about, Eric. All day, what we've been seeing are people that are walking and biking by as they normally do, stopping to pay their respects. We've seen people cry. We've seen people leave the flowers. We've seen others that are actually being spoken to by volunteer chaplains who are here speaking to people. We actually caught up with a couple of bicyclists as well as runners. This is what they had to say.
We are just off one of the cruise ships, and we walked into downtown Manhattan, and we were walking back along here and saw the memorial and felt we really had to stop and pay our respects, because on a different day it could have been us.
We felt like it was important to come back here and still do what we do, but also explain it to our girls so that they can understand it as well.
This as the investigation continues into the terrorist suspect who right now obviously is in the hospital and recovering. He is someone that the FBI says believes acted alone so far based on all the evidence they have. They also believe he self-radicalized in the United States sometime when he arrived here in 2010. The FBI has now questioned his wife. Reportedly, she is cooperating with the FBI, and she says she had no idea about the attack. Again, that investigation continues. They're trying to really figure out his known associates and friends and acquaintances to see how far it stretches, just how many people, if at all, helped him. Remember, there was talk that neighbors said that this terrorist suspect had spoken to some friends in the days before the attack. Eric?
Yeah, and Saipov apparently wanted to fly the ISIS flag and hang it up in his hospital room, according to federal court papers. So we'll have more on the investigation in just about 10 minutes. Bill Gavin is here, formerly from the FBI. Brian, thank you.
This is a real problem. But what we've got to do as Democrats now is we've got to hold this party accountable.
Very quickly, Senator, do you agree with the notion that it was rigged?
Yes.
And that is Senator Elizabeth Warren reacting to new allegations by former acting DNC chair Donna Brazile that the DNC put a heavy hand on the scale in favor of Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders during the 2016 primary. The revelations putting Democrats on defense at a time when the party would rather be taking advantage of the President Trump's low approval ratings. Some Democrats saying the time for serious reform is now.
This is just further evidence that the DNC needs to be completely overhauled to take our party back from the special interests of a powerful few and put it back in the hands of the people. We must bring about real campaign finance reform. We must get rid of the undemocratic system of superdelegates. We must implement open or same-day registration in Democratic primaries to actually encourage voter engagement.
Let's discuss this now with Bob Cusack. He's the editor-in-chief for The Hill. Bob, have you spoken to Ms. Brazile before I asked this question?
Yes, I've talked to her.
You have? Okay, then with that in mind, talk to me then about the calculus behind Donna Brazile's exposing the Democrats' dirty laundry in her book.
Well, a lot of Democrats are not happy with Donna Brazile because, remember, we've got a big governor's race coming up on Tuesday, and that's really a must-win for Democrats. That state has been leaning Democratic in recent years, and it's going down to the wire. So now, Brazile, I think it also shows that the power of the Clintons after decades is on the decline. There's no way that Brazile would be writing this if Hillary Clinton were in the White House. So this is a problem. A year after the presidential election, the Democratic Party is still, there's so much tension within it, Arthel. I mean, the Bernie Sanders wing and the Hillary Clinton wing, they're still fighting.
Yeah, and they lost. President Trump is in the White House. So how much of a political gift is this to President Trump, and how far can he run with it?
I think that it's a big gift. I mean, there's no doubt about it that Republicans have had trouble unifying that. We saw that on the health care battle. But at the same time, there is this friction on the Democratic side, and they have a lot of candidates who are running for Congress. But the question is, what are the litmus tests for Democrats? And they can win back the House. There's no doubt about it. But they're not going to win with Bernie Sanders type of Democrats in swing districts. They're going to have more centrist Democrats. That's how Democrats won control of the House in 2006. They recruited pro-gun, pro-life Democrats.
So then if, Bob, dissension is reverberating through the Democratic halls of Congress, what are those stress points, and can they get it together to take advantage of what would have been, political opportunity in 2018?
Yeah, I think they can get it together. We've had recent special elections, which were kind of must-wins for Republicans because they were Republican-leaning districts, and Republicans won those races. So I think Democrats, though, they have to come up with a clearer message. That was a big problem in 2016. They can't just run against Trump, though Trump is going to be the main target. They've got to have their own message, and I think you're not going to see that message, though we've seen a better deal from Democrats that didn't go over that great. But those messages down the stretch, they come out closer to the election in 2018.
But what does it mean for the future of the Democratic Party? Because it can't just be good messaging. There has to be weight behind. There can't be empty offers, in other words, to potential voters.
Well, I think one of the things that Senator Chuck Schumer is trying to do, and he's done throughout his career, is focus on the middle class, and that's something Democrats did not do down the stretch of 2016, and they were way overconfident that they were going to win. So I think that's what they have to do. They have to focus on the middle class, talk about jobs, and not talk about Russia. I don't think that's not going to sway a lot of votes right now.
Yeah, well, but speaking of Russia, how far, going back to the president, how far can the president run with this? I mean, he gets to point the fingers at his nemesis, Hillary Clinton, and the unscrupulous dealings with the DNC. Can the president use this valid distraction to derail or somehow make the Russia investigation go away?
He can't make it go away, but he certainly can distract it. And some Democrats have told us that they'd wish Hillary Clinton would move off the stage, but she came out with a book. She's back in the news. Republicans are saying that she should be investigated, and they're moving forward with that because they control Congress and they control the Department of Justice. So I do think that Trump can use this politically, but without a doubt, Robert Mueller is going to continue to do his investigation. And as Senator Grassley said, who's a highly respected Republican, he said, let Mueller do his job, but also we should also look into Hillary Clinton.
Quickly, Bob, rounding back to the top of this segment, Donna Brazile, you spoke to her. Is she happy about what's happening as a result of what she has published in her book?
I haven't talked to her since the piece came out and her book is going to come out. But I do think that one of the questions that reporters are going to chase is that now that she says that she considered putting Joe Biden on the ticket instead of Hillary Clinton, did Joe Biden know about this? Who else knew about this? And how close was this to actually happening?
Yeah, definitely does kick off a lot of questions. Bob Cusack, I have to leave it there. Good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Arthel.
Eric.
Arthel, many are calling it a surprising sentence for Bo Bergdahl, and they are slamming it, as he avoids prison time after pleading guilty to desertion and misbehavior before the enemy, that, of course, the Taliban. Therese Gagne has the details.
Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl walked away from his post in Afghanistan in 2007. He says he was trying to call attention to deteriorating conditions for his troops there, but he ended up spending 5 years in captivity after being taken prisoner by the Taliban. Now Bergdahl has been sentenced in a military court for his actions, a judge deciding he should be dishonorably discharged and pay thousands of dollars in fines, but no jail time. His lawyer says the judge made the right decision, especially in light of President Trump's comments during the 2016 campaign, calling Bergdahl a traitor who deserves serious jail time.
President Trump's unprincipled effort to stoke a lynch mob atmosphere while seeking our nation's highest office has cast a dark cloud over the case.
And the president continued his criticism after the verdict was announced, tweeting, quote, "The decision on Sergeant Bergdahl is a complete and total disgrace to our country and to our military." He had faced life in prison after pleading guilty to desertion